Well, it's the second week of LCS here in 2017. I'm joined right now by Rob Moore, who is the owner of Phoenix1. Rob, so I'm kind of curious, how do you feel about Phoenix1 this year? Because last year, for a while, it was kind of like the meme team. A lot of people made some jokes, but it looks like things are looking up for the team.
Well, I do think last year at this exact time, Piglet said Phoenix1 shouldn't be in LCS.
Yeah.
So it was a little change of fortune that today against Piglet, we swept them to go to 3-1.
Yeah.
It's been an amazing start to the season.
Yeah. Very good. I'd love to ask you kind of a little bit about the business side of this whole thing for you, because last year was a crazy year for LCS ownership, and I have to imagine. Well, first off, what did you, when you were getting into all this stuff, how did you end up getting into it, and kind of what were your early expectations around it?
Okay, well, Michael Moore, who's my son and now the managing partner of Phoenix1, he had brought this opportunity to me and a couple other people who were looking for an investment of how can we be part of eSports, and specifically how can we be part of League of Legends, seeing the growth and seeing how connected the fan base is. So the opportunity came up about 2 weeks before the start of the season, and we said go. Yeah. So we made the shot call on the fly and jumped in, bought the team, and definitely spent most of the season just trying to get ready to avoid relegation. But now in the off season, building around Zig and Inori, who certainly, Eric Ma and Charlie Lipsy helped us discover last year. So we really had two young people who were very talented that we could build around. And then Michael took the team to Korea and was able to attract Ryu and Arrow to come join our team, and now we are looking very strong.
Yeah. Now, what about esports and League of Legends really made you guys interested, and how did you find out about this?
Well, I think, when you look toward the future and you look at the engagement of younger audiences, that this is what they've grown up doing. This is the first generation that's grown up with this level of video game that's this connected, where you can play with your friends no matter where you are. And so when you see that generation start to grow up and where they're going to be, I've spent a lot of my time in the entertainment business and the movie business, and you see what happens when you build fans from young and as they grow up. So here you have League of Legends that is relatively new, but then you see how that builds upon itself and now how the next generation builds. So our belief is that we can build a brand in this space that connects to this audience that's going to be growing and growing.
I'd love to get a little bit more idea about your background, because, like you hear as the Phoenix1 guys try to photobomb the video. Hello.
Come on in.
Hello.
Let me in.
How's it going?
I love
How's it
Rob.
going?
Hi. Rob's the best owner.
Wow. Are you just saying that because he's here?
No, I love Rob.
Okay, very good. And you pay them to say that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
this is all planned?
It's a bonus structure we have. The more times they say nice things or tweet about me on, the better off for them.
Okay, very good. Well, no, I do want to ask you, so ownership in the space has changed dramatically over the past couple of years. You kind of started with all these people who were former pro players or fans sort of developing these brands. Now you have traditional sports athletes or people from that industry. You're actually I keep hearing you being referred to as from the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I would love to get an idea on what that means.
All right. I spent 25 years working in the movie business. I was at Disney for 13 years. I then worked at a small production company for 5, and for then the last 10, I was the vice chairman of Paramount Pictures, where I oversaw the studio, helped build brands, oversaw the marketing and distribution. So working on franchises like Transformers and coming up with a global marketing and distribution strategy where your whole goal is finding and developing Transformers fans, and how do you get them to come out to a movie, and how do you get them to want to engage with the property and the characters. So watching what's happening now in video games and the way young audiences connect to video games, that watching my own kids, they would rather watch the best people play video games than they would rather watch baseball, because now that's what they do. So they have an appreciation for how good somebody is doing, and therefore that's more exciting for them. So I started seeing where they were sitting there watching on their laptop. Well, maybe there was a Laker game on in the background, but they became more interested in what was on their laptop. Right. And I started to understand, they're on Twitch and they're watching League of Legends. Yeah. And that was part of what interested me and a couple of people who I've invested with before, and we said, this feels like a place where we both hopefully can bring some benefit, but also where there should be a lot of growth going forward.
Yeah. Working myself in the industry and working with other people that come from media, it feels like there are obviously a lot of things that are true in that space and are also true in esports, but there's so many things that I think people hold as general assumptions about media that just seem to like fly out the window for esports or completely different. I don't know if you've had this experience at all, but where do you see the parallels or differences between esports compared to other traditional media?
Well, I think traditional media is having to evolve a lot, and I think that's where esports lives, which is the era of when you can talk to everybody through television and advertise to people through television. That's just going away. And now you have a generation growing up who never watches live television, right? They are on their computer, they are on their phone, they are connected full time. So therefore, how do you engage with that audience? And so that's the challenge that all media is having. And I think here, at least, you have something that they already have an affinity for. So for us, now the next big step for us is how do we get fans to connect to our team and our players? So like this last week, Ryu went out and adopted a cat. And we streamed some of that. We let the fans help name the cat. They did pick Rengar. And so we are trying to now build up that following and that connection to these players and this group of people.
So the cat was all along just a marketing ploy is what I'm hearing. There's no genuine authenticity to the cat.
I'm saying, oddly, when Ryu came, one of his requests of moving to LA was, I'd love to get a team cat. And then we're like, okay, well, the team cat's going to have to suddenly star in a video for us. But yes, we now have a P1 team cat.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I was talking to Noria a little bit about that yesterday. It's very hilarious to me that was one of his demands. You mentioned earlier on in the interview that for you and your fellow investors, you were looking at something in esports, but very much League of Legends. Yep. Why did League of Legends stand out so much? And also, what are your general thoughts on the other esports and any interest in expanding into those?
Sure. I think the key, coming from a business that has become so global, that what I love about League of Legends is how it is truly a global sport, that it has a true world championship. Like, I always laugh about the fact that we'll have sports that other countries play in, but we'll call it the World Championship. Yeah. And here you have a true global World Championship with a global fan base. And I think, as you look at what the future is and what your possibilities are, this definitely has the biggest global following, and that was what attracted us.
Now diving in a little bit more into kind of the hecticness that was last year, so many people, I think, okay, so for you, I'm sure, my guess is that the expectations were like, okay, we're going to grab some players, we're going to try to avoid getting relegated, everything will be super fun. Instead, there's all this craziness that happens around, owners and Riot and all this kind of stuff. What was it like for you sort of navigating that new space and all those kind of unexpected, I'm sure, situations that arose?
Yeah, I guess, maybe we didn't know enough to know how crazy a decision it was to jump in. But then once we were in, we really spent the time to figure it out and try and work it out. And I have to give Michael credit that he kept the team together. When you have a team that is 0-9 and looking bad doing it, to have the team still want to work hard, practice together, and really stay focused and believe that they could come together at the end, that was a real challenge. So that was truly impressive that the organization was able to support the team and help them get to that place. And then you started to see with Zig and Inori that you had these two young, inexperienced guys, but they really were gelling well together and had a lot of potential. And then as the back half of the season, you suddenly started to see, all right, we have hope to survive. And then capping the season off with the upset of TSM that truly was just one of those most shocking, spectacular moments.
And now outside of the roster, and I want to ask you to directly comment on any of the conversations that the teams had with Riot, because I know everybody's kind of keeping that a little quiet, but I do want to ask you just on a personal level, what was the experience like for you of suddenly getting sort of swept up into this broader conversation around permanent partnerships or franchising or whatever? What was it like for you suddenly dealing with all these sort of bigger conversations that were happening in the ecosystem?
Yeah, well, you definitely have, two basic groups of owners. You have those guys who were players, who've built these teams, who've been in the league from its beginning. I think when you look on the wall, there are only banners from TSM and CLG and Cloud9. And so you have that core group of owners, and then you have people who've come in who are now trying to build the business. So you do have a complicated element in terms of getting all the owners on the same page and then figuring out with Riot, how do we all work together? Because now there is the possibility that you can build this into something long-term that rivals a professional sports league, because that feels like what the opportunity is. So obviously whenever you're having conversations like that, at times that people can have different priorities for themselves, but I think we ultimately got to a good place and laid a very good foundation for how this all now moves forward into 2017.
And then, kind of speaking of that, as you said, like, owners kind of all coming together. One thing that's really exciting for me about this current owner lineup in North America is that it feels like all the different teams and owners have something kind of unique and special to bring to the table, whether it's experience in traditional sports and maybe building out teams there and brands, or the guys that come from the esports space natively and feel like they can bring maybe authenticity and understanding of the community. For you, given your experience building brands and marketing, do you feel like you're able to bring something special to the sort of core? And do you think that there's enough conversation between the owners that you guys can all sort of share your expertise and pool it together to build something special?
Yeah, I think one of the great things now that's happened as I've come into the space is people seeing that, because this is based in Los Angeles, and I came from the entertainment business, that I now have got a very good working relationship with both, and I'll call him Andy Din, although I know you all call him Reginald, and Jack from Cloud9, and that we actually worked together on a big team promotion where we did a fan event where we held a movie screening at the IMAX headquarters and had a bunch of fans there do a meet and greet. And so it's been great to now be able to connect in with those guys who've been around from the beginning, and hopefully I can help bring them some more of the Hollywood flair into the process as well. So right now I think we've worked out a pretty good rhythm together.
Very good. Well, hey, I mean, I don't want to keep you too long. I know the team already did their fan meet and now probably want to leave soon, but is there anything you would like to say to any of the Phoenix1 fans out there who are maybe looking at your team this year and saying, hey, looks like this might be a team I want to spend some time rooting for. I really like that cat.
Well, I think the key has been, when you look at how now we've got to a 3-1 record and you have a team, by definition, has only been together a month, that we're already able to compete toe-to-toe with a team like Liquid, who's been around, who didn't make a lot of roster changes. I think now you have a chance to be part of something fun and exciting, and so hopefully we can now start to build a fan base that, right now we have like a core group of hardcore fans who were with us last year who are mostly like friends and family, but there's plenty of room on the P1 bandwagon. So come on board. I'll play Santa Claus in the theater and give people who are cheering some free swag. So people should, jump on Twitter, follow us at Phoenix1GG, and we'll start to have some fun things. We'll be creating some fun videos so you can start to meet the team, and hopefully we'll continue this momentum.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for the interview. It's really great to always get an insight from people who are entering the space and kind of have that traditional expertise that they're bringing to the table. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the time.
For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things esports here at Yahoo Esports.